Hi, my name is Brandon, and I'm an alcoholic and addict in recovery. Today I'm going to read some from Recovery 2.0 by Tommy Rosen about what he calls the fallacy of if-then thinking. And I was a big if-then thinker in my addiction. And one of the best things about coming into recovery was learning how to stop doing that. So let me read the paragraph where he really explains what he's talking about, and then give you an example of how this is really getting rid of this type of thinking has really made a difference in my life. Tommy writes, one of the thought patterns that many of us have to break out of is if-then thinking. This causes us to postpone our happiness, contentment, and joy until life arranges itself in a way that meets our demands. If I get the right job and make the right money, then I'll be happy. If I get the right girl or the right guy, then I can start living. Once I reach this goal or that goal, then I'll relax. The problem with if-then thinking is that we set ourselves up to miss the whole trip. The end seems to be the only place where we stand a chance at happiness. Listen to that sentence again. The end seems to be the only place where we seem to stand a chance at happiness. Of course, once we're there, we find that we've blocked our happiness with something else. The journey is the point. That is where our healing is. That is where our joy is. That is where our love is. Meditation has been the practice that has shown me how to break out of this destructive pattern. Meditation will help you to enjoy the journey as you live it. So 2 stories that come to mind for me with this, because I was an if-then thinker all the time. I constantly thought about, if this happens a certain way, then I can be happy. And of course, things never happened that way, and so I was never happy. So I, starting in my early 20s, I decided I wanted to be a fiction writer, and I really wanted to see my writing in print. And for some reason, I had gotten it into my head that, especially because I was an atheist and an agnostic, that really the key toward living on past my physical life was getting my writing in print, where it could exist for, potentially centuries or millennia after I died. And so I had this really big focus on getting my writing in print. I wanted to see my name printed on a page and published. And so I wrote a lot, but I didn't really put a lot of effort into it. I started, about 10 or 15 years into it, started putting some effort into getting things published, and I ended up getting some things published. And I had banked all this happiness on, I had said, I'll be happy if I get published. And then I got my first short story published, but that wasn't good enough because it was online only, and I really wanted to see something in print. And so then I did get another story published, and it was printed, but that wasn't good enough because the book wasn't being sold in bookstores, and I really wanted to go see. And you see how this works. Every single condition that I put on my happiness, once I got to the point where I met that condition, wasn't good enough, and I created more conditions. So this if-then fallacy of thinking, there's always more. There's always more that you can imagine that you need in order to be happy. Now, if I recenter myself, which is what meditation is all about, if I recenter myself and focus on how do I get happy right now, right in this moment, and how do I find contentment, not even happiness. Let's not even worry about happiness. How do I find contentment in this moment? Then all of a sudden, the if-then thinking can go away, and I can really focus on just things like this breath, things like what's actually happening right now. What sounds do I hear around me? And the feeling of contentment with this moment allows me to let go of this if-then thinking. Another way that I used to think about this, winning the lottery. Man, I wanted to win the lottery. I thought if I can win the lottery, I will be happy. I'll be a happy person. If I could never worry about money again, I'll be a happy person. I used to think about that a lot. And I used to spend a lot of money trying to win that lottery. And my idea of happiness, once I won the lottery, of course, was to go live on a beach where I could drink all day. Which would have been, thinking about it now, that sounds like a miserable existence. And so I was at a party this weekend and found out that a friend of mine had won well over $1 million playing a slot machine in Las Vegas. And my first thought, I had this idea of, oh, that person can be happy for forever now, and a friend that I was talking to said, "Can you believe this?" And I looked at her and I said, "But do you think this person's actually happy? Do you think that this money has actually made this person happy?" And my friend laughed and said, "No. In fact, when I was talking to this person about their winnings, they were complaining about parts of it and what they had to do to go through and get it." And so even in the light of what for many of us would be a life-changing sum of money, this person had a lot of complaints about what they were dealing with. And it just goes to show you that happiness and contentment aren't to be found in the things that happen in life, but in the way that you approach life. And that may seem cliche, but damn, it's true. Because when I was in my addiction, even the exciting things in life, I could turn them into unhappy events because things that I wanted to do, for an example, things that I went out and tried to engage in, being involved in community activities, trying to be social with people. Those are things that I wanted to do, and yet as soon as I got engaged in them, I would have rather just been at home drinking or getting high, and so it's all about how we approach the world around us. And happiness is not in what happens in life, it's in the way we approach it. And I think this has been one of the best parts of recovery for me, because I don't have to look at, if this happens, then I can be happy. I don't feel that way anymore, because I have surrendered to the idea that I don't know what's going to happen. And in fact, trying to design life to happen in a particular way is very dangerous for me to do, because then I build up expectations, and when those expectations don't come to fruition, I start making resentments and getting upset, and it's bad news all the way around. So the best thing for me to do is just focus on this moment and doing the right thing in this moment, and then kind of just watching what happens and allowing life to unfold rather than trying to control it and get it to happen in a particular way. If I do that, then I can push this kind of if-then thinking out of my life and not get in a position where my happiness, my future happiness, is contingent on things happening in a specific way, and instead focus on my present contentment and my present action as the real focus of my life. That's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow with more. Have a good one.